It's Sunday afternoon, November 1st, and I'm taking a look at some trades, trying to set up my week. Got a weak market. We've got elections coming up, lots of uncertainty. How am I going to find a decent trade to swing trade in this type of environment? It won't be easy, and quite honestly, I'm not going to be looking for a lot of swing trades, but I do want to start getting my wish list together because if there's clarity on the election outcome, I believe the market will rally. Why would I feel that? Because 15 out of the last 17 times the market has sold off before the election, and we've had on average about a 6% rally after the election results are known. Now, the exception to that was in the year 2000 during the Bush Gore election. Market did not like that scenario because we didn't know the outcome for a very long time. People were counting hanging chads in Florida. I hope that nothing like that's going to be happening this time around, but we have lots of mail-in ballots that need to be counted, and we have that handled differently state by state. One of the key battleground states is Pennsylvania, and election officials there have said they're looking for a close race. They feel that regardless, one way or the other, it's going to be contested. That would not be good. The other problem that we have right now is that there are a lot of Senate seats up for grabs as well. That's also going to determine who has the majority in the Senate. All of these things come into play for the stimulus bill. And right now, that has been a priority for the market. The coronavirus is spiking. We've got a lot of businesses that need that lifeline. And there were a lot of traders who were hoping that before the election, we would be able to get that stimulus bill done. I believe that was holding the market up. And once it was known that we were not going to get a stimulus bill before the election, the selling started to overpower the buying. Now you can see here how the market had pulled back a little bit. This could have been a bullish flag formation, but we would have needed to see a long green candle closing on its high. Then we would have had a chance to challenge that high right there. When it didn't happen and we had this long red candle closing on its low, this was a key bar one way or the other. And when we saw that decline right here, it's a different pattern that surfaced, and that is a double top lower high. And that told me that we were going to see additional selling pressure. We bought back our bullish put spreads. We made money on some of them because time decay had already been working in our favor. We were able to scratch the rest. Now you can see these long tails above body. That is a sign that the market was trying to bounce, but the sellers kept a lid on that bounce. They had the upper hand. Eventually, we broke below the 50-day moving average, closing below it. Then last Wednesday, big drop down, and now we've closed below the 100-day moving average. Where might we possibly find support? Well, this is one support level right here, horizontal support around the 320 level, and you can see how this upward sloping trend line right here is coming into play right around 320. So I think that's one of the first resting points that we could see this week. The other would be the 200-day moving average. That brings us all the way down to approximately the 312 level. Geez, can we get down to the 200-day moving average? It's possible if the election results by the end of this week are not known and everything's in limbo. Yes, I think the 200-day moving average could be tested. We could also see some civil unrest. I hope that I'm wrong about that, but we've already seen protests throughout much of the country. Now, there was another big event that happened this week. Mega cap tech stocks announced earnings. We had Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Twitter. In every one of those cases except Google, those stocks sold off after the earnings results. We have stocks trading at a PE of 23. That is rich by historical standards. So there's room for the market to come in. We also know that profits are expected to decline about 20% in Q3. Q4? Gee, I hope it's better than that. Well, with the coronavirus spreading right now in a lot of states back in shutdown, phase 3, Q4 may not be as good as everyone had been hoping. This virus is very persistent and it's going to weigh on economic growth. Now, there is light at the end of the tunnel. We know that there are going to be a lot of vaccines available. AstraZeneca has said that they plan to distribute their vaccine sometime starting around Christmas. So we've got some positives in play here. We need to have that election outcome. There's also the debt ceiling that needs to be negotiated in December. So there's a chance that the stimulus bill and the debt ceiling will be lumped into one. Politicians are going to have to get to work after the election. So a lot of uncertainty. What does that mean? That means that swing traders in general should be waiting on the sideline, waiting for clarity. Once we have that clarity, our probability of success will go way up. Does that mean that we want to be guessing right now on these outcomes? Absolutely not. This is a binary event. Let's wait for it and then let's trade accordingly. But for right now, doesn't mean that I can't put a wish list together. So let's go in and see what we can find. We're going to use the custom search engine within Option Stalker to try and find some candidates. And there it is. First of all, we know that we want good option liquidity. So let's start there. We'll use a rating of 0 to 15. These will be plenty liquid for us. I would also like to have a stock that has already announced earnings. I don't really care how long ago. The reason for that is I just don't want to be tripping over an earnings announcement that's coming up next week or the week after. Now I've got to adjust the position. I would prefer to sell option premium right now because option implied volatilities are going to be pretty high after a market decline like this. So ideally, I could distance myself from the action, find a really, really strong stock, and sell out of the money options so that if the market does come in, the stock should hold up well relative to the market, and time decay will be tick, 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 working in my favor every day. If I get lucky and the election results are known right away, this should be a slam dunk winning position for me. So I want to make sure that earnings have already been announced. So we'll go with October 1st and October 30th. We should have lots of results because last week earnings season climaxed. So we had a lot of companies that have already reported. And I like to typically start with a very wide net that I cast. Well, look at this. Got a whole lot of candidates that have already reported and have very liquid options. You know that I like relative strength. So on a daily basis, I'm going to click strength versus SPY. Now let's take another look and see if our list has narrowed dramatically. And it has. Now I could click through all these, but I'd rather continue to narrow that list, and I'm going to click ADX on a daily basis, bullish. What the heck does that mean? ADX is an indicator that measures trend strength. And because I'm using a daily basis, it means that the longer term trend has been very strong and that it has upward momentum. Well, if I have any stocks in this, you can see how the market's been down, down, down. Let's see if we've got anything. We actually do have two stocks that fit this criteria. So that's going to be really easy for us to knock through. Let's see what we've got here. PINS, I know. MGI, I'm not that familiar with. But let's take a look at it. MGI, okay, so I like this horizontal breakout right here around the $4 level, cheap stock. And you can see how it rallied up, couple tails above body. It's pulled back a little bit. This is what I would call a bullish flag formation. Draw that downward sloping trend line visually, and you can see it. There's your pole, there's your flag. So now we've broken out above it, and actually you can see earnings were just last Thursday. Stock gapped higher on Friday, but it was not able to hold the gains, and it closed in the lower quadrant of this candle. So that is an inverted hammer almost. But this stock actually could be pretty decent. I'm going to keep an eye on it and see if there's a day trading opportunity for me Monday. By the way, we're about an hour and a half before the futures open, so I don't have any idea of where they might be opening or if they're going to be down or up dramatically overnight. I don't really care at this stage. I'm just looking for a really solid stock. MGI looks pretty good. I may end up day trading this one. I'm not going to sell any options on it. It's a $5 stock. I really don't need to. So let's take a look at PINS. That one I know. And Pinterest, you can see earnings after the close here. Stock had a nice compression right in here. The longer and tighter the compression, the bigger the breakout, the more sustained the move. You can see how it had really nice volume in here. It popped up, it was able to hold this little compression right here, and then there's the earnings announcement. Gaps higher Thursday. Now that's an inverted hammer. So it was not able to hold those gains and it pulled back a little bit on Friday. Stock probably got ahead of itself. Let's take a look at the SPY. We'll overlay that so you can see. Now look what the market's done. So this is very important. The market has been down and it's been down hard. Very difficult for a stock to hold gains like this when the market is working against you. We'll put up the 10SI indicator and that shows us relative strength. And if the line is above 0, which it is here, it's strong relative to the market. Also, very, very good volume. Cool. So what do we do with this information? Well, we start taking a look at where those support and resistance levels are. This $54 level right here, that's going to be the first line of support. And anyone that bought this big breakout right here that got super excited by the stock, they are going to want to try and buy the stock where it was right here before that earnings announcement even came out. Plus, we know that before the market sell-off, we had this compression. The stock has been moving higher with the market moving lower. So there are natural buyers in this stock. Let's put up the trade button and let's take a look at what we've got for option premiums. We'll go into the November 20th expiration cycle. And let's try and be at least one standard deviation away if we can. And the blue line is 2 standard deviations. And the red line's 1 standard deviation. So we'll take a look at this. We'll click the $53 put. We'll click the $52 put. And we can see that that spread is 7 cents bid offered at 42 cents. When I have $1 between the strike prices, I personally like to get a 20-cent credit. So in this instance, $1 between the strike, bring in a 20-cent credit. My margin requirement is 80 cents. My maximum risk on the trade is 80 cents. If it expires worthless, that 20-cent credit divided by the 80-cent margin yields a 25% return, and this option expires on November 20th, so approximately 3 weeks. Make 25% in 3 weeks, not too bad. But let's take a look at where that $53 strike comes into play. It is inside of this $54 horizontal support level. Was resistance, now support. So we are inside of it. The stock can come all the way back down. It can check that breakout, and we're still okay, and we're still out of the money. I like that. Now, also, this low from Friday should be support. As the stock comes into this gap here, I would expect it to find more and more support, especially as it gets closer to this breakout. And we know that before the market had any kind of problem, this stock was already treading water pretty well right here in about the $46, $47 level, and it gapped up in here. So I like this stock. I think this trade could actually work well. Does that mean that I have to rush in and sell this spread tomorrow morning on the open? No, no, no. Let's see what the futures do. If the S&P 500's down 50 points overnight, do I want to go stick my head in that lion's mouth? Absolutely not. Let's wait and see what happens. However, let's say that tomorrow the futures are down 20, 30 points, and let's say that the stock looks strong relative to the market and this low from Friday holds and the stock is actually starting to trade higher on the day and the market's starting to find some support. In that instance, yes, I will consider this trade. So first I want to see how the market opens. to see if there's additional selling pressure. And I also want to be evaluating the stock on a day-by-day basis to see if it is starting to find its strength. And I want to make sure that this gap right in here that I'm kind of leaning on, I want to make sure that that's also holding. Let's say that the S&P 500 opens flat tomorrow, but the stock is down and it's easily shedding these gains. Well, what would that mean? That would mean I stay away from it. I do not want to be trading that. I want that relative strength right here to be preserved. I'm counting on it. And I know that Pinterest posted a good number because I can see the earnings reaction. So go back, read the earnings report, see what their revenue growth rate was, see what their guidance is. I think this stock wants to move higher. The only reason that it's giving up some of these gains is it got a little bit too far ahead of itself and it's having to fight a stiff market headwind. But this is the time to go through, construct searches like this, take a look at your candidates, start getting your Christmas wish list together. Because once the market finds support, you're not going to have a lot of time to dilly-dally around. You're going to need to strike, and you're going to need to strike quickly because the market is not going to sit at these lower levels for very long once the election outcome is known. That's all I've got for you tonight, Sunday night. If you like this content, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and turn on your notifications so that you never miss these videos, because in each one of them, I try to give you trade ideas. Every single one of them, I'm trying to give you trade ideas. I've been a little bit lean on the swing trades recently because of market conditions, but we have been nailing tons of great day trades intraday using a similar process where we're looking for heavy volume, breakouts, intraday strength, and we have earning searches that we can use within Option Stalker as well. So if you're a day trader, please take the free 2-week trial. This is going to be a very exciting stretch into year end with lots of opportunities and lots of market movement. Good luck this week. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching this YouTube video. I'm Pete Stolzers, and I'm going to keep the trade ideas coming along with lots of education. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and please turn on your notifications so that you never miss another trade. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. I've loaded 2 other videos that I think you're really going to enjoy. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.